This Thursday night at the Henry Group Center, there is going to be a community conversation on the overdose death situation. It's not only prevalent in our city, but around the province as well. But disturbingly, in Kamloops, we have seen 18 overdose deaths up until the end of May. That number is a lot larger than other communities, relatively speaking to population. So this is a conversation that needs to be had. Joining us today to talk about this Thursday night meeting, Sandra Tully. Thank you, Sandra, for being here.
Thank you.
For those of you who don't know, Sandra Tully's son, Ryan Pinio, died of an overdose death of fentanyl back in January. And Matt McLean, you are with Ask Wellness Society.
Yes.
Thanks for being here, the both of you.
Thank you.
First obvious question would be, kudos to both of you for being a part of this, for making this happen, because sometimes it takes organizations coming together and saying, let's just do this. And that's what's going on here on Thursday night. Matt, can you speak from that perspective?
Yeah, so we did a get-together like this in November, and it's put together by service providers. But there's a lot of things that happen that service providers attend, and we don't have the general public. So the November piece was to get the general public out, and that's certainly the case with this one in particular. And we already know there's a lot of interest, and there's a lot of folks who have questions. And at the end of the day, we're hoping the bulk of those questions can be answered at this, and some people can make plans and figure out what they're going to do in regards to the situation.
So the meeting will open up and it will be a sort of a big group conversation, but then there will be special groups that are broken off that deal with different topics. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, there's a schedule for the day, and so we have Dr. Rob Baker is going to speak, and we are also going to have opportunity for the second half to talk about what services are in community and talk about the continuum of service to address this issue. And I think one of the bigger pieces, and certainly that I'm running into in community, is how to address if you think someone has overdosed, what steps can you take? And then there'll be talk around naloxone and how that works. And
Right. What other facilities are in our community? I found with my son, it was hard for me to access, and I didn't know where. This was new to me. So, I mean, this kind of event for anyone that is concerned is going to be a wealth of information. I would encourage anyone to come to this event.
Sandra, your son died of a fentanyl overdose in January. When you were reaching out for help, it was before this happened, obviously. You knew that you needed to get resources to help your son. Did you feel like those things were not readily available?
It was hard for me to find. At first, he was an adult. He was 22. So accessing them on his behalf was difficult. There's also a stigma attached to addiction. And so we were fighting that stigma. This is a small community. He had lots of parents of his friends that work in this healthcare, and he was concerned about how that would look to them. And so we fought that stigma probably more than we fought accessing the services available.
So people need to be more open about this and understanding.
Absolutely. This is a disease. This isn't a choice. The choice is the first time. Then after your brain has become addicted to the drug and it's changed its chemicals and that's all you think about, this is now a disease. And I think society needs to really look at it as a disease.
What did Ryan think he was taking?
He thought he was taking Oxy. He had gone through, there was a summer of 2014 where he was heavily into Oxy and had come to me and said, I think I'm addicted, I don't know what to do. We did some detoxing. We took him out of the community for a while. He eventually ended up at the Phoenix Center, which was fabulous. But then what happens after? That's a 3 to 5 day. So then what happens after? He ended up leaving Kamloops for 8 months. It was there were too many things here. Like he would say, there's a guy at the gym that deals. There's, I can't apply here because my dealer's girlfriend works there. So it was too small of a community. He ended up coming back, and so he'd been clean for a while. And he ended up coming back thinking he was taking the same thing that he was. And I didn't know at the time that if you've been clean for a while and then you go back to your same dosage, that's not a really good thing. I had no idea about that, and he did. And he ended up taking pure fentanyl.
And that was discovered in the coroner's report, is that right?
That's correct, yeah. We didn't know that. We found the pills in his room, and we didn't know that, of course, until quite after the fact. There seemed to be a lot of deaths in January. There were 77, largest amount of deaths to overdose that BC's seen in quite some time. And so it took a while to get that report, and I was shocked. There was nothing else in his system.
So this meeting on Thursday will help people understand some of the issues that you went through, not knowing all of these things going on and understanding where they can go to get this help. Let's talk about this drug that is supposed to help reverse all effects of fentanyl.
Naloxone,
Yeah.
or Narcan is a brand name for it. So it's actually, the positive piece is it's really easy to apply it. And it's as of late now, you can get it, I think it was as of March, you can get it without a prescription.
Right.
But that certainly is one route. Is if you're dealing with your family doctor, you can get a prescription to get it, but if you can go to the pharmacy and purchase it. And so that'll be part of the conferences. If you see someone, and unfortunately we are seeing that, if you see someone who's passed out and you're not sure why, you check. I'm not a health authority, but you check their breathing, and if you think there's a risk that it's an overdose, and you had naloxone, even if they haven't had an overdose, the positive piece is it's not going to hurt them.
Exactly.
How long do you have to get the person this drug before it's too late?
I don't know the exact time.
I know you're
but
not a doctor,
you might
but
know it, but if their heart stops.
I think I had read somewhere around 5 minutes. But what happens is with the fentanyl overdose, their breathing slows and then their heartbeat slows, and so it's very short period of time. And really, even after they've been given the naloxone, they need to go to emergency.
For your situation, I can't imagine how hard it is to talk about this on some level, Sandra. I mean, clearly you've been through a lot, but had you known about naloxone,
I had actually inquired about getting it, and at that time, you still couldn't get it. I couldn't go into the doctor's office and say, my son's an addict, I want this. I couldn't do it. They would only give it to him, and of course, he wasn't saying anything to anyone.
Right. The key, it sounds like, is that we all need to come together and be open and understand where the resources are to help save lives. I mean, I know that you've called the situation an epidemic in Kamloops before, and then the only way to stop that is for everybody to be on board.
I speak out a lot with regards to this, and I'm amazed and comforted by the fact that when I speak out, everyone else has a story. Everyone else has a story that they want to tell me. And I think, if we are all dealing with this, we need to start that. Nothing changes if there's no conversation about it. So having that conversation could change potentially a lot of people's lives.
Exactly. I really appreciate you coming on and speaking about this today. You know, it's been a very rough year for you, and I think by speaking out, you're helping save lives, and I think that's monumental.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for being here. Mark, is there anything else that you would like to add about Thursday night's meeting?
The more the merrier. If it's tight, we'll make room, because it's, like you said, it's an important piece. And I know we've touched on the fentanyl. That will be part certainly of what we're talking about,
But it's
because
all opiates.
It's all opiates, and fentanyl, of course, being the really big risk because of its potency.
All right, thank you to the both of you. Again, this is happening at the Henry Group Center this Thursday night at 5 o'clock. You're absolutely welcome to come and bring anyone that you think might be interested. The more the merrier, as Mark mentioned. We're back in 2 minutes. Stay with us.